What's up, y'all? We are going to talk some college football playoffs, the Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss versus Miami. Right now, the Hurricanes are a 3-point favorite. Total set at 52 and a half. And I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot believe that college football season's almost over. It's like I just was praying that college football season would be here and back in the summer. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait till game one. I can't wait. And now I'm just like, I need the season to restart because I don't know what I'm going to do in 3 weeks with no college football. Probably just cry. But I digress. Let's talk about this game. So we have the Hurricanes, who some were like barely got in, right? Some will say they barely got in, but I thought they deserved to be in, especially over Notre Dame, right? There's a team that has steadily gotten better and beat Notre Dame in week one, had the head-to-head. Then we have an Ole Miss team who some say they weren't really battle tested, right? The hardest team they played was Georgia, and they blew a double-digit lead against Georgia. It was in Athens, so some give them a little more for forgiveness. But I think both of these are some superior, really good elite teams. Miami, elite on the defensive end. Defensive front is fantastic. Strong against the run, top 5 in defensive success rate against the run, top 10 in EPA per rush allowed. Good on the back end. A lot of that stems from how good their pass rush is, right? When you have a good pass rush, your secondary is good. Your numbers look a lot better. Top 10 in EPA per pass and EPA and success rate per pass. And for Ole Miss, right? While this is a team that's not really highly touted defensively, they have shown at times that their lack of defense, and this is relative, right, compared to Miami, has not hindered them from winning games. 66 in defensive success rate against the run and 45th in EPA against the rush on defense. Both of those are probably their biggest, like, I'd say bugaboos or worry spots. Initially, I was going to take Mark Fletcher over, I think it was 86 and a half rushing yards. I couldn't get to the window. Now, I wish I did because the CLV on that's going to be massive. He's around 96 and a half. I think Carson Beck under 3.5 is an interesting look. I didn't bet it though, right? Because he had 27 plus rushing yards against Ohio State, and I imagine Ohio State probably has a better pass rush than Ole Miss, Mississippi. You know what's funny? I'm gonna digress a little bit here. I'm gonna go on a tangent. It's funny that Ole Miss is the Rebels, but they also have a different mascot, and some places call them Mississippi, some places call them Ole Miss. I call them Ole Miss. Okay, sorry, that's my soapbox. Anyways, back to the game. This game, I don't know if it's going to be one in the trenches. A lot of people say college football is one in the trenches. You watch Indiana dismantle Alabama because they won that game in the trenches. You saw Ohio State lose to Miami because Miami won that game in the trenches. But I think the biggest difference or difference maker in this game is Trinidad Chambliss. His ability to not just improvise and create when the pocket breaks down, but to be effective, be on time, and throw accurate passes or make the right decision makes him a game changer. He makes him the ultimate game changer. And also, Charlie Weiss Jr. is able to move the pocket, roll the pocket. Don't allow for that Miami pass rush to have that one target, that statue in the pocket to get after and kind of disrupt. I think this game is a lot closer than people probably suggest. I think these two teams are very even. This offense is explosive for Ole Miss, and the defense is explosive for Miami. I just thought 3.5 points was way too many. I got 3 in the hook. I'd still play 3, but anything under that is pass for me, right? And that's Ole Miss plus 3.5. Yeah, they didn't cover against Georgia as an underdog in game 1, but look what they did in game 2. Not only covered, but came back and won. I know that there's going to be a little bit more of a pass rush than what Georgia present. Georgia's havoc rate in the front 7 wasn't good this season, especially sacks and time to throw rate for the opposing quarterbacks. But I do want to take a play that's kind of predicated on that, right? Miami's going to have more pressure in Trinidad Chambliss' face. I'm going to take Trinidad Chambliss over 9.5 rushing attempts. It's a number that Trinidad Chambliss hasn't really cleared a lot, right? He didn't clear that number against Georgia, didn't clear that number against Tulane, didn't clear that number against Mississippi State. But if you look against in the games where he played against elite pass rushes, and there were games that were relatively close or games that they had to come from behind, South Carolina was a closer game, even though it was 30-14. He finished with 15 rush attempts. That was another really good pass rush. Oklahoma, really good pass rush, 12 rush attempts. That game was 34-26. They won, right? Let's even go a little further. LSU, decent pass rush, 14 rush attempts. It's getting off schedule. And I think in a game of this magnitude, you are not going to take sacks. If you take the sack, I still get an attempt. But I think he is going to pick up any yards he possibly can get. Let's say this, right? Let's say Miami, their pass rush becomes a little too aggressive because they've been getting home. Last 2 playoff games, they were getting home with extreme success. What does that do? It opens up the running lanes for Trinidad Chambliss. I kind of like his over 23.5 rushing yards, but I'd prefer rushing attempts more because I do know he will get sacked once or twice in this game at minimum, and that kind of takes away the negative yards it eats in. I'm going to also go ahead and take this, right? Like, I was wondering if I was going to take Keywan Lacey. I'm taking his over 77.5 rush yards, and I could live to regret this, but even against Georgia when they were losing, 22 rush attempts. Against Georgia in the first game, they were winning, and they never got a chance to run the ball early, and I think that's something that Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin at the time are probably regretting, right? You only ran the ball with Keywan Lacey 12 times in that game. Didn't run the ball effectively either. But Keywan Lacey this season, man, has just been going off against everybody. And it's shown that he will run the ball and he will run the ball and he'll run the ball. Maybe I could have taken rushing attempts over 19.5, but I just hope that he has a 30-yard run or 25-yard run, maybe 2 of them that kind of gets him to that over. That's one that I'm not in love with, but I wanted to have a couple plays in this game to have a little bit of action. And if I were to talk about my 2 strongest bets, it'd be Trinidad Chambliss over 9.5 rushing attempts, and then Ole Miss plus 3.5. But I am going to bet Keywan Lacey over 77.5. You can get fancy with that and take Keywan Lacey, drop him down to like 60. But I thought against Georgia, who has a comparable run defense to Miami, I thought Georgia was going to stifle him. He didn't have a run longer than 16 yards in that game, yet he still ran for 98 yards. And they were in a losing script in that game. There could be some explosive plays by the Ole Miss wide receivers if you are interested in any receiving props, but I just don't really want to go there. I don't want to take Deshaun Stribling at 53.5, and I don't want to take Trey Wallace. I can't remember what his number is. I think it's close, right? Because one of these guys is going to have a good game and the other one's not. They both good, but I don't think it's going to happen in that game. I do kind of like Malachi Toney over 6.5. And I was looking at his receptions at 60.5, and I look at his receptions. The only reason I didn't take Malachi Toney over 5.5 receptions was because it's super juiced at minus 167. But I think Malachi Toney has a big play in him. How you beat Ole Miss is on the ground, not through the air, right? But I do think Ole Miss and Pete Golding know that Mark Fletcher is a full grown ass man, and Mark Fletcher is going to do kind of anything that he wants or do anything in his power to run these guys over. And Pete Golding's going to do the same thing. He's going to do anything in his power to stop Ole Miss. To stop Miami in the pass game. So I think Malachi Toney has a big game. I think he has to have a big game. But my favorite bets, again, I'm going to say them one more time. Trinidad Chambliss over 9.5 rushing attempts and Ole Miss plus 3.5. If you enjoyed this video, just make sure you subscribe, smash the like button. God, guys, college football season is almost over and I'm freaking super sad. It's like super depressing, but I'm going to keep making these videos. Made my banger for basketball, and it was a freaking smash. We smashed it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.